Good afternoon, and welcome to Williams Wake. This is Sharon Schultz, also known as the Bay Lady, and I am in Baltimore City at the moment. I am on Lemon Street, which is near the famous Baltimore and Ohio Railroad Museum. The first railroads were built here in Baltimore, and there's a museum to that effect. Also, where I am now is a museum that celebrates the people who helped build the very first railroad in the U.S. Um, this is the Irish American Museum. Um, it's about the Irish that came over during the famine. It came to Baltimore, where their immigrant ship was met by agents from the railroad who um, who came and offered them jobs, offered them a living, benefits, community. They built houses for them, and that's where I sit now. Um, the Irish Museum, the Irish Museum is actually a group of row houses on Lemon Street that the railroad had built for its workers. Of these homes, the museum owns four so far. Um, Eventually, we will own the six that make up the rest of this block. Today is our annual event here at the museum called Williams Wake, and I'm waiting for the guided tour going on there at the moment to be completed, and then we can go in and have our own private tour, take a look around, and I'll tell you the history of wakes in Ireland or Irish wakes in the US, whichever the case may be. While I'm waiting, let me say that I am. I've been doing virtual tours for quite some time. Um, my tours are funded by the generosity of the people who enjoy following me. I can accept tips at a platform called Buy Me a Coffee. You will find the link posted on Sharon Schultz, the Bay Lady, my YouTube page channel, and also on Facebook Live, the Bay Lady. All tips and donations are definitely greatly appreciated. Uh, they help with gas to get me where I need to be, right? So, anyway, if you want to see more of my tours or find out when the next ones are scheduled, my YouTube channel, Sharon Schultz, the Bay Lady, would be one place to find them, as well as Facebook Live, the Bay Lady. So I'm going to turn the camera around here and give you a view of this neighborhood while we're waiting to get into Williams House. Pay our respects. And there we go. Okay. You're looking up the street, you're looking at several people who were on the first tour, saw the first tour of Williams Wake, and they're waiting the next event after the tour concludes. They will be driving to the cemetery at St. Peter's Church, where the this community participated, attended services, and buried their dead. There is a famine an Irish famine memorial at the cemetery placed there by the Irish immigrants who also lie there. And there'll be a procession, actually a caravan. They'll go by car and take flowers to the Irish famine memorial. And that would then conclude today's events, which is simulating a funeral. Okay, that's what this is all about, showing you a piece of life as it once was, um, and life and death. Actually, it's all relative, right? Um, this is William's house. It has a black wreath on the door because somebody died, and there is a wake within. The white ribbon around that black wreath indicates that it's a child, that a child is laid out here in this home. Now, what you're looking at is the Irish American Museum. It used to be called the Irish Railroad Workers Museum, but it just recently, a couple of months ago, changed names to the Irish American Museum because over recent years it's become so much more than just about the railroad. We have acquired another building, so we own the first one, 918. And we own this one, no, 920, 918, 916, and 914 is ours. And with any luck, we hope to get 912 and 910 also. The museum is raising funds to be able to purchase them. We just closed on 916 earlier this summer. So the museum is growing. Some of the new exhibits that will move over into the new building are expansions of current exhibits that were started. They would be about the women, about the Irish working woman's exhibit. So women here were very important. They had their own jobs, and so we will have an exhibit honoring them. We also currently have an exhibit about church and school, and those will be separated. There'll be one on the church and one on the school, and they will explain those as well. So there's a lot going on. They're also going to open a genealogy room. The museum does genealogy research for a fee for people interested in that, but the members do it from home, where we'll actually have a place dedicated to genealogy with records that the public can come in and take a look at. Okay, not sure how much longer the that tour is going to be. Are they still in there? Yeah. Yeah, they're in the main room, so maybe they will be concluding shortly. Okay, so I want to show you the mural here that was painted by a person from Ireland, an artist, for the museum here. And it depicts life with the railroad primarily. Oh, sun is bright today. Okay, so there it is. Irish Railroad Workers Museum. We have a painter that's going to come from Ireland and paint the top with the new name, the Irish American Museum. So that will be done sometime by the end of next year, I would imagine. But it's very detailed. It shows the homes that were built for the Irish. It shows the Irish man with his tool going to work on the railroad. The washerwoman with her basket of laundry. There's the train representing the railroad museum, and the ship that brought them here. They came over on immigrant ships. Oh, here we go. Okay. I think we can go over here now. Let us see. Oh, by the way, there's the railroad over there. Okay, let's just see if I can get in there. They're going to be getting ready to go to the cemetery.
So at night they didn't want people coming. So
Yeah,
they
or
would
animals.
take them in.
Yeah, okay.
That's really tough. Thank you so much.
Yeah. My turn yet?
Almost.
Okay. Okay. Almost. So while we're waiting, let me show you the main part of the Railroad Museum. It's a museum today, but keep in mind that it was where they built trains. There were actually trains active here. So there's the big round house. That's the part of the museum today that houses the trains. They have an outstanding train collection. I mean, a super mega train collection. All kinds of locomotives coming down throughout the years and such. Here's another mural. Baltimore's full of murals, not to be confused with graffiti. That's not what this is. These are sanctioned, painted works of art by artists, no doubt local artists as well. So this, the purple, that's about the Baltimore Ravens, of course. So, as I said, here's the roundhouse full of trains. There's a train yard behind it. And of course, there's the main part of the museum with all types of exhibits and stuff. In our museum, in the Irish American Museum, one of the displays that we have is about working on the railroad. We've got a awesome collection of tools and photos and, stories about the men who made the railroad possible. It's a very important thing, really. Nice mural. So this street has been here for quite some time. These homes that are part of the museum were built in the 1840s, 1847 or around then. And as a matter of fact, William's funeral is took place around 1870. Well, as I said, William is a child. He was the son of the Feely family, okay, James Feely and his wife Sarah. And they lived in this home and raised a number of children, like 10. And they raised their children in this very home. So let's go on in here. Okay, so you would be greeted. You would come into the parlor, and here's where the deceased person would be resting. Here's William. William laying in his coffin. William's got his shoes on, and he's wearing his Sunday best. The Irish believe that it's important to wear your best clothes when you're going to meet the Lord, and you need shoes because it's a rocky road getting to heaven. So they have candles lit here. The parish priest, of course, he would be here, blessing everybody. Okay.
So, next door is unlocked still.
Yeah, okay. I won't be here long, and then I'll go next door and sit until y'all come back. That cool. Yeah.
I want to take those lilies, but I don't want to lay ones without names.
Oh, okay. These are the flowers for the memorial for the cemetery. And they're pretty glows.
Are they doing the procession?
Mm-hmm. Yep, we're getting ready to do that.
Driving or walking?
Driving. It caravan type.
I've been to see.
deal. Yeah, I went
There's
last
no lot
year.
to see there.
No, there isn't. There isn't.
I was just looking at it all recently, trying to figure out something where the first church was the Pro Cathedral, then they built, and they had a cemetery there, then they had the old Cathedral Cemetery. And then they had St. Peter's Cemetery, which where most of the people from St. Peter's, the Episcopal went. But they closed the old Cathedral Cemetery and moved everybody to the new Cathedral Cemetery. And when they did that, unless you came and paid to have the headstone and the body removed, they just put them all in a common grave at the new Cathedral Cemetery.
Oh no, that's
So,
insane.
all these poor Irish bastards.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
My great
That's
grandfather.
insane.
The new Cathedral.
So it is in Irish families at the wake, they cover any mirrors because they don't want to reflect
I left
in.
my keys for you.
Okay, cool. Thank you. They don't want to invite any spirits that may come and take their person away. Here we have cards and things. I'm live streaming. Yeah. Because funerals, wakes are something of a celebration, but it's not a sorrowful celebration. They keep upbeat. They have all types of wake games and such. They have also special foods. They would turn the photographs down. Let's see, sayings of death and or wakes. Many a day we shall rest in the clay. Death is the poor man's best physician. Death doesn't come without a cause. Okay. To die and to lose one's life are much the same thing. Profound Irish, right? Here's Sarah. She's it's her child here that is laying in this coffin. At wakes, they also have specific food. Okay. They would have brown bread. They would have stew, Irish stew, perhaps. They would have potatoes before the famine. Well, actually, here they would have potatoes, not so much where they came from. That was the problem. So, this is what this is what their kitchen looked like, actually. The old stove. They ate the food that they grew primarily or caught. She's got some fish in there. And, this is very simple living. Here's an area where perhaps Sarah did her laundry, maybe laundry for her neighbors as well, which she would get paid for. A lot of times the women would be able to rent rooms in their homes for extra money. The men would be at work across the street at the railroad, and the railroad operated 24/7. So there were day shifts and night shifts. And it was possible if you had a spare room with 2 beds in it, say, you could get rent from 4 people, 2 sleeping on the day shift, 2 sleeping in the night shift, or you can double them, 2 to a bed, and that much more money. And you would maybe provide meals for them, breakfast at any rate. And so it went. Mostly it was like young men that would rent the rooms, young men coming over here by, single and coming to, make their way here. And sometimes it would be family members, so siblings and such that they would, send home. So we can go ahead and go up and see the next floor real quick. I haven't been up here for a while. Ooh. Here's a typical bedroom. This would be Sarah and James's room. Here are Sarah and James, and there's one of their children asleep in the cradle. Here's quilts that they would have had and pieces of clothing that they would have worn. You've got clothing hanging up here. There's Sarah's stuff, and here is James's stuff. The pictures and things that decorate walls and mantles in those days are either religious artifacts or photographs of family members, living and dead, both. This exhibit is for the immigrants who came over here from Ireland during the famine in the 1840s. And it shows it was a grueling time. The bunks that they slept in on board ship were very small. And you should see this guy has one to himself, but that's not always the case. Okay, Irish coffin ships. That's what they called them because so many people died on their way here. There's photos of various people who immigrated. There's the that's the lighthouse and the station where immigrants from Ireland and Europe actually came here. We had approximately in Baltimore more than 1 million immigrants come in during that period. We were second busiest point of entry, only after Ellis Island in New York. So, yeah. The lighthouse still stands, but I don't think you can get to it anymore. That whole area is industrial now. So, okay. Oh, see the little rat down there? Not. Okay. All right. Let us go see. What else is going on out here? Awful quiet. I don't hear a crowd of people anymore. It got very quiet. Yes, indeed. Then they're off. And they're off. So there you have it. Williams Wake. They do this every year. And it gives you quite an insight into the Irish life, Irish mentality. Irish are very superstitious, and it's reflected in a lot of their traditions, many of which are really still in place today. So there you have it. All right, let me turn this camera around. Let's see. Oh, hey, Sarah. How are you? How's it going? Haven't seen you for a while. That's very cool. Very cool. Here's a real quick a view of the backyard. This is the yard for this house as well as the other house next door, with all its exhibits as well. This outdoor exhibit is outstanding. One of the board of director members carved that cross you're looking at, carved that Celtic cross, and also the harp. Those were hand carved by a board member. So that is really outstanding. It's a nice garden area there. We also have the garden over that way. A couple of those yards too. Okay. Let me turn this baby around. I am going to, let's see, camera switch. There we go. There I am. Yeah, okay. All right, so I think that, alone again. Truly. Okay, I am going to shut the door. And we will go next door. And this is the main part of the museum, actually, today. This will be moved, so it'll be split up, and the exhibits in here will be totally expanded and such. So, oh no. So there you have it. I will hope you enjoyed the tour, and I will see you next time. Don't forget you can find me on my YouTube channel, Sharon Schultz, the Bay Lady, and also on Facebook Live on my page, which is the Bay Lady. So, hope you enjoyed it. Hi, Sarah. Glad you made it. Talk later. Bye.